Okay, before it gets too late, I'm going to work on something. I have no idea what I'm going to work on yet. Thinking of working on something Obsidian again. So we'll see. Yeah, let's see here. The weather is pretty good, so I was out doing other stuff today. But I got to get back into knapping. All right. Should I do this one? Do another rock to point. I'm not really doing anything in particular when I do these, unless I say that I'm doing something specific. Like I'll put it in the title of the video. Now this one is a different kind of obsidian. We'll see how it turns out. I don't think it's, well, it might be. Yeah, I guess it is banded. It's a banded type of obsidian. Okay. I could see bands in it there, but I wasn't sure if it was easy to see. I can tell this is going to be crackly, similar to silver sheen obsidian. So it may not be all that enjoyable, but could make a good video. As always, I try to maximize it. Oh, let's see. By the way, I forgot to measure, or I forgot to weigh the other one at the final stage. 0.5 ounces. Half an ounce. It started with, I don't know what, but that's what I got. As far as yield goes. This other part of that nodule, let's see. 10.7 ounces. So from half of the other nodule, I got that arrowhead, and then I have this other spall. It had a natural crack in it, so I think I did weigh that other spall. All right, that one was 10.7 ounces. 10.5. Anyway, I need to get into the habit of weighing these so that we can make a record of what the yield is, at least for me. Okay. Yeah, knowing what the yield is part of knowing how to maximize it, or seeing the results of your attempt to maximize it, or seeing the results of my attempt to maximize it. Your results may vary, as they say. Now, what am I looking for? I'm just looking to see if it's cracking in funny ways. If it's cracking in funny ways, I'm not going to hit it really hard, because you never know what can happen. I do need to get rid of that top surface. This angle's not that great, though. Let's see. There are some other opportunistic areas on here, but I got to be very careful about how I hit. I just want to clip that little bit. I'm swinging pretty hard, so that was okay. I'm swinging pretty hard, so I'm going to get long flakes. I just hope they don't do weird things or overshoot. Okay. hit that pretty hard, but didn't go anywhere. I think that's, yeah, that's a good platform there. Or a good striking area. I hope those dogs don't make a big noise. If they start barking, I'm going to stop talking and wait till they calm down. How's that? I might even pause the video. Now this one might give me some trouble because it's got some weirdness to it. Yeah. It's got layers. Obsidian with layers. Yeah. It's not a fun time because you don't know what, it's so delicate, you don't know what's going to happen with those layers. How much it's going to affect the napping. I think pollen season's coming up, so I'm getting all congested. Or I think maybe pollen season is in full swing. I don't know. For those of you who don't know, I have seasonal allergies and constant allergies, all kinds of allergies. So yeah, I was on the internet for a while today too. Not supposed to be, but I was. I was researching ADHD. They don't call it ADD anymore. ADHD. I was doing research on that. I also attempted to get into some discussion, although I try to avoid discussions on the internet. Internet people are kind of weird. Yeah. And that's not excluding me. The discussions can get kind of confusing. When you start to try to understand how other people think. You know, when I'm arguing with someone online, or I'm discussing something online with somebody, sometimes I try to understand why they're saying what they're saying, or where they're coming from, or what is the basis of their logic or reasoning. The scary part is sometimes I understand it. I know that it's not correct reasoning, but I understand where they're coming from, and it causes this weird dissonance where I know it's wrong, but I can understand what they're thinking. Right? I know there's something fishy about it, but I can understand it. But the dissonance comes in when you know that you shouldn't be thinking in that way. For example, there are some people out there who have a different view of choice than I do, right? And their idea of choice, in order to have a choice, the outcome must be guaranteed, or it's not really a choice. If it's just a possible outcome, it's not really a choice. Let's see if I can come up with an example. Like, let's say, let's see, like related to Flintknapping, let's say that not everyone knows how to flint knap, right? So when I say that I'm choosing to make an arrowhead, it's not really a choice, because if it was, anyone could make an arrowhead if it was just simply a choice. And what they're thinking is, it's not a choice, it's just a possible outcome. Right? Making an arrowhead is just a possible outcome. Not everyone can do it, and it's not guaranteed. So it's not really a choice, it's just a possible outcome. Right? And I can understand what they're saying. They'll say stuff like, if making an arrowhead was a choice, anyone could make one. So it's not really a choice. I understand that. I understand what they're saying. They're thinking it's just a possible outcome. But my question is it what? It's a possible outcome of what? Of your choice to proceed with trying to make the arrowhead? What is it a possible outcome of? What they're thinking is, in order to be a choice, you would have to guarantee the outcome. Otherwise, it's not really a choice. People are thinking that. They're thinking that, you know, if I'm working on this and I achieve an outcome, it's just a possible outcome. It's not really my choice of making it. Let me think of a different example. Another one would be, if looking at something was a choice, there wouldn't be any blind people. So looking at something really isn't a choice, because there are people who are blind that don't have the choice, so it's not really a choice. That kind of thing, that kind of logic. So when you're dealing with people that have that sort of logic online and you're talking about choice, they have a totally different view of what choice is. And I didn't realize until today that some people are working with different definitions of choice. And it's true, it is a possible outcome that making the arrowhead it's not really a choice, because not everyone can do it, right? And it is a possible outcome of my desire to make one. But I don't look at choice in that way. If I did, and following that logic, I don't see where many things are a choice in that case. If you had to guarantee the result of your choice, I don't see how that's possible, unless you're talking about pure thought. Yeah, I can choose to think about a pencil. It's a guarantee, but that's within the realm of thought, right? To make a pencil, it's not guaranteed. So if I choose to make a pencil, I'm not really choosing to make it. That's what they're thinking. It's just a possible outcome. So in the physical world, that would mean there really isn't any choice, because you can't guarantee the outcome. Anyway, that one was a difficult concept to wrap my head around. Because I don't define choice that way. Anyway. Why is that important? Well, it goes to the very basic concepts of consent. Consent is a very important concept. And it has choice as its major component. Right? When you consent to something, you're actually choosing to accept it. But if some people don't understand it, is it really a choice? Some people thinking maybe it's not a choice. If understanding was a choice, then everyone would understand it. That's what they're thinking. That's not how I define it. So it gets you all kind of, well, it got me thinking for a long time. How do you deal with people who are thinking that way? Anyway. Once or twice a week, I take a break from Flintknapping and thinking about archaeology and start thinking about philosophy and that kind of thing. So how is this working out? This is working out okay, but I think I'm going to encounter some weirdness as I try to get it thinner. Yeah. I'm not going to put any notches in this one. And if it works out, I'm gonna save this for something else. I'm not going to put it in the auction. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe I will. It depends on how translucent it is. If it's not very translucent, I can't use it for what I was thinking. And I'll put it in the auction. If it's not translucent. If it is, I'm going to save it. Yeah. We'll see. Let's see. Some of these pieces are thin. You can see some banding, but it looks like I'm going to have to get it really, really thin to see that banding in it. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to use it for what I'm thinking. Yes, it's so nice to not have to worry about the flakes in the shoes. Okay. I think one of you guys are doing the same thing. At least one of you guys is doing the same thing. Protecting your shoes from flakes. Yeah, I just got into the habit of emptying out my shoes after every session. Yeah, this one's not as nice. This type of obsidian is not as nice as the other. It's kind of weak, kind of crumbly. Yeah, so the steel is not doing too well. It's good enough. This abrades very nicely, so I can strengthen up the edge pretty easily. But this kind of obsidian is challenging, and that's one of the reasons why I picked it. Yep. So what did I discover about ADHD? Well, the first thing I discovered is no one wants you to self-diagnose. Yeah. Don't you go self-diagnosing now, they tell you. You gotta go to a professional. But if you got these symptoms, then maybe you should go check it out. So they started rattling off the different symptoms or characteristics of people with ADHD. And sure enough, I got them. Yep. And it runs in families, and I know my kids got it too. Unfortunately, it has to do with dopamine levels. Yeah. And the treatment for ADHD basically is stimulants. Stimulants help people with ADHD because it does not make them hyperactive. Ironically, stimulants calm down the ADHD person. And when they self-medicate, they often go on binges of stimulants to get relief, which can sometimes lead to addiction. Yeah. Now, luckily, I have not reached that point. I have other workarounds. If I need to do something I don't really like doing, I'll try to have, music I like in the background. That helps. Or I'll intermix it. I'll mix it with things I like doing. I'll take a break. A lot of breaks. I won't just go straight through, force myself all the way through. I'll take a lot of breaks and eventually get it done, little by little. Things like that. I can do something I don't want to do. I can do it in small doses. It's not too bad. But when your brain shuts you down when you don't want to do something, it's really, really difficult to overcome. Yeah. So I'm encountering some difficulty with the layers. You can see the difficulty is there too. The flakes are not traveling. I'm going uphill through those layers. Now, do I have a strategy? Nope. I'm just going to have to adapt. Figure out what type of edge or how strong I think I need to make it pretty strong to get flakes to blast through there. I don't want to try an overshot. It's too unpredictable, but I could try shooting flakes from this other side so I don't have to go uphill into those layers, because you can see the layers there. I don't want to go uphill into those. It's not working. I mean, I do want to do that, but it doesn't seem to be working. So maybe I can shoot some flakes from the other side. I gotta be careful. It's just so easy to nap that I could easily overshoot or cause it to dive and create a big crack like that. If that's diving in, I don't think that dived in, or I don't think that dove in there, but you never know. Now it looks like it's just a hinge and not a step fracture, which is good. So that kind of worked. But sending flakes uphill into that layering is going to be a challenge, because I think I'm going to have to do it here. I don't have any other avenue unless I come in from the base. But that's snap in half territory. Did it do it? As long as it does it without hinging, I mean without stepping. A hinge is okay. But if it does it with a lot of stepping, what that means is there's incomplete termination or a flake that's undetached. And sometimes those flakes, they are undetached because they want to dive, and you end up with a plunging crack in there. I think that's what I might call it. A plunging termination causing a crack in the whole workpiece. I hope that's not what happens to this one. So far so good, but I'm getting close. I'm getting close to causing that sort of effect. Yeah. There's a lot of layering on this side too. Now, is there a way to work with the layers? I suppose if I had studied it a little bit longer, I may have developed a different strategy. But all I did was I just looked for a place where I could, you know, maximize the biface without looking too much at the grain. I looked at it a little bit. But I just looked at it enough to become aware of it. I wasn't really working around it or trying to work with it. Is there a way to work with the grain in this case? I suppose you could try to work with it, you know, send flakes in the same angle as those layers. Like, it looks like the layers are going like this through it at this angle, going through it like that. The layers going in, which makes it difficult to go against the layers here. If I was going more with the layers, it might chip easier, although it may end up following a layer or two and become too thin. You know, if it naps way too easy, sometimes you can thin it out too fast by removing a deeper flake than you had planned, because there was a layer in there and it followed the layer instead of your plan. You know, you do kind of get the feel for how deep these flakes go after you get some experience, but the layering can mess that up by cracking along a layer or releasing in a different spot than you thought because it was weak. It was weak in one of the layers, and when you hit it, it'll jump up to a different level and then take the flake. Just because that's the path of least resistance, which may cause you to, you know, remove too much. Okay. Now, using a softer hammer doesn't do too much to alleviate the layering problem. A softer hammer just helps to avoid cracking and crushing the edge. It also grips the edge, and you can run longer flakes with a softer tool. Yeah. See, it works okay on this side, even though there's layers there. Maybe I'm just getting used to it. I don't know. Maybe that was luck to run that long flake. We shall see if the luck holds out. It does want to dive, that's for sure. Yeah, I shot that one too far is what I did. too much force. It didn't need to go that far. Yeah. So now I'm regularizing it, hitting spots that I ground down but hadn't removed yet. Getting rid of the thick spots. If I can do it. There. I need to send another flake in there. But I'm not going to send it from this side. I'm going to send it in from the other side. Trying to keep it as wide as possible. Although I just brushed that right there. Took a bunch off. This is not as resistant as chert. Any little brushing can zip off 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. If I'm not careful. It's kind of thin right there on the edge. If I'm not careful, I can easily blow away a 1/16 of an inch without even trying. You know, just brushing like this can blow away a lot of the edge on Obsidian. Yep. That didn't seem like it was a hard hit either. But I think the piece was warning me the whole time. Like right there. That's kind of a warning not to hit too hard. I didn't think I hit hard, but apparently I did. Okay. Apparently I hit too hard even though it didn't feel that way. Now some people think overshots are okay because the edge is nice, right? The edge is nice for flaking once you get an overshot. I never found the edge to be nice for flaking after an overshot. It's all wonky now. Maybe once in a while I'll find the edge to be advantageous after the overshot, but in the vast majority of cases it's not. I still can't figure out why some people like the overshots. Or why they feel a sense of accomplishment if they have a good one. I just have a feeling of relief that luck was on my side. Yeah, it's like having a lightning bolt strike nearby. You don't get all happy that you got to witness a nearby lightning strike. You're going, I'm so glad I'm lucky I wasn't right there. Same with overshots. When I get one, I'm not really, ooh, that was cool. So I'm glad it didn't ruin everything. As long as it didn't ruin everything, I'll be glad it didn't. That's about it. I don't find them cool in any way. Now it's narrow, so these flakes that I'm taking from the base, they got to be very delicate. I can't be hitting it hard, but I'm doing it now while I still have some thickness in the middle. All right, let's see. Let me pause here for a second. Okay. There's some nice flakes in here for small points. There's always someone that's new that asks, what do you do with those flakes? What do you do? I sort them out, and the ones I can't use go in the trash. Trash goes into the landfill, so it doesn't look like there's an archaeological site in my backyard. I don't dump my flakes in my backyard if they're small like this. I throw them in the trash, and the trash goes to the landfill. That way, in 10,000 years, the archaeologists will be finding modern items with the flakes. They won't go, ooh, archaeological site. Yeah. They won't be doing that. Because they'll find little aquarium stone decorations. And they go, no, these flakes are next to little aquarium stones. Stuff like that. You know, aquariums, those things that those crazy people in the 21st century used to have. Every once in a while they throw out the aquarium stones just to change up the colors. Yeah. What else would last a long time in the landfill? After 10,000 years, everything's going to be deteriorated, corroded. You know, all the metals will be corroded down to almost nothing. I don't know, how long does a galvanized nail last? It doesn't last more than a couple hundred years, I don't think. I don't know. I'm going to have to lose a lot of this width. Because of that silly overshot. Now I should switch over to a smaller tool. But I'm afraid that switching to a smaller tool is going to throw off my mojo. And the fact that I'm not used to the smaller tool right now is going to cause me to hit too hard. I already know my limits with this tool here, so I'll continue with it until I can't get any good results with it. So far, so good. Yeah. You guys wanted to see a narrow point anyway, right? Yeah. Of course you did. Of course you want to see narrow points, right? No sense in preserving width. Not really. Narrow points are cool. Right? Right. I can say that because I'm all by myself. Yeah, I can agree all day long. No arguments. No arguments, no interruptions. No crazy people with weird ideas about choice. Yeah. So it's already thin, right? I don't need to go thinner, but I am going to go thinner. But that's what I'm doing now. I'm just looking for opportunities to thin it down, regularize it, get it to the finished final state, and make it look nice. And for me, making it look nice means there's bold flaking, not too much chatter, no excessive step fracturing. Although I don't ever try to eliminate all of it, because that's what causes almonds and briquettes to occur. If you're overly concerned about step fracturing and you keep attacking the step fractures and keep attacking them, you end up with a little teeny thing. You gotta figure out what level of steppiness you can live with. If you can't live with any, you'll be making some small points for a long time. If they ever get to the point where it looks like something, you may never think you're making anything that looks good, so you end up making just gravel. And you'd rather have gravel than a steppy piece, which is fine. Some guys nap that way. They would rather have a bunch of gravel like that than a projectile point with step fractures in it, which is perfectly okay. For new guys, I don't recommend that sort of mentality, because I want you to enjoy it to begin with. Get that pattern in your brain that it's something that you can do to relax, maybe. I think that some of the source of my anxiety with this stuff is the ADHD. Some people find this highly relaxing. It's probably why I can't sit and read for too long. Some people can curl up with a book on the couch, right? That's the expression, curl up with a good book on the couch. When I read, if I'm not listening to a book, if I'm reading a book, I start out okay. But for me, reading is like climbing stairs. A book to me is a staircase, climbing upward. The more I read, the more tired I get. The faster I read, the more painful it is. Just like climbing stairs, if I run up the steps, it starts getting painful. If I start reading fast, it's painful. If I slow down, I still get tired. Because for me, it's just relentless forcing myself through the words. Yeah. When I was in college, we didn't have a lot of stuff that could convert your book to audio. Like now, you can just buy an app or install an app on your phone that can read the books for you. I don't really like those apps, although I have tried that. The reason why I don't like them is because they read stuff on the page that normally you don't read, like some books have the title of the book up in the top, and when you're having your reader read it for you, he reads the title over and over again every time he flips a page, and you're going, wait, what is that? Is that the title of the book I keep hearing, or is that the title of the chapter I keep hearing over and over? Sometimes it actually makes sense with the wording on the page, and that's when it gets confusing. Anyway, I listen to a lot of books. If I let myself spend all the money I want, I can read 100 books a year, or listen to 100 books a year easy. 2 a week. Because because I have it on whenever I'm doing other things. Yeah, it used to be that I couldn't stand having a book in the background while I'm doing something else, but now I need one. It's funny how that works. If I'm cooking or something in the kitchen by myself, no one talking to me, I need to put a book on and listen to the book while I'm doing the cooking. I can't be sitting there in silence, stirring whatever, or watching something frying on the stove. I gotta be listening to someone reading a book. Yeah, very delicate procedure here. Look how thin that is. It's starting to get anxiety. Anxietatious. Starting to get anxietatious. Mm-hmm. That one didn't feel right, and I knew it. Little step fracture. Nasty. I can tell sometimes when the flakes don't travel. It jerks it a little bit. And you go, uh-oh. That did not feel like a smooth transition or a smooth termination. Now I got to try to go up against the grain to get the backside of that step fracture. We shall see. And it's right in the middle, of course. But if I don't think about it too much, a lot of times the subconscious comes through, and the muscle memory and thousands of hits pays off like it just did. Yeah. Still looks kind of steppy. Can I lose some off that edge and run another bold flake into that area? Yeah, I could. Do I want to take excessive risks right now? It's pretty much done. As long as I don't drop it on something. Yeah. I gotta make sure I can do the tip. Thin down the tip. Let's see. I have better luck doing the indirect percussion on tips than I do with pressure. So let's try that. Oh yeah, one of the symptoms of ADHD is you use the organizational method called the piling method, where you just pile up a bunch of stuff on your desk or on your workspace. Guess what? To my right over here, I got a big pile of tools. Now, I could sit there and try to rearrange them every time I put them down, but I just throw them in a pile. So, golly, I'm thinking I'm the poster child for this ADHD stuff. After listening to that one podcast, yeah. Okay. Now, sometimes I keep my tools in order, but it takes time. Yeah. And usually that time that it takes distracts me. Easily distracted. That's ADHD right there. What is it? Working memory was another symptom. You don't have much of a working memory. What that means is, let's say you have someone gives you the phone number, yada yada yada. Someone gives you their phone number. Normal people can usually remember a phone number and walk over and get a pencil and paper and write down the phone number. But the ADHD person has a hard time remembering if there's anything that happens in between hearing the number and going for the pencil and getting the paper. If there's something in between that happens, the mind just goes, the short-term memory or the working memory disappears. Yeah. That used to happen a lot with me, but it's getting better. And they say the diet does affect it, and I know firsthand that it does. My short-term memory is a lot better. Although I still suffer from forgetting stuff in my working memory. An immediate task, if I need to do something, like for instance, I try to write down notes on my phone because it's immediate. I don't need to get a piece of paper. Take out my phone and write a note or write a phone number or whatever. But if something happens in between, it could be as simple as I hit the wrong button on my phone to get the message, to get the right application to write stuff with. If I hit the wrong button and it pulls up like a Facebook page or something, and I see something on the page that is kind of interesting, I can immediately turn it off. But that distraction, that noticing something interesting on the page, just wipes my memory. So what was I going to write? What was that? Yeah. But like I said, it's gotten better since I changed my diet. But that still happens on occasion. Yeah, in a lot of my videos, I'll say stuff like, this guy sent me some stone and I need to make an arrowhead, and I'll make one if I remember. Right? Like someone will send me a piece of stone and they would like an arrowhead demonstration from it. And I'll write back in the email, okay. Easy enough to remember. And I'll mention it in the video. But like the old cliche, if I've slept more than once since then, so there's no guarantee. I've slept since then. Forgot. Yeah, all it takes for me to forget that email is someone unexpected coming to the door. Someone knocks on the door. Who is it? I don't know. Who is that? Oh, okay, so such friend of yours. Yeah. A little interruption like that. Totally forget the email stuff. It could be weeks before I remember. Yeah. If I don't write it down right away. Or take a screenshot. So that I can review my screenshots every so often. I'll go, why did I screenshot this? Oh, it's got this guy's little request on there. That's why I screenshot that. Now I remember. No, it is my phone that remembered. I don't remember jack. Yeah. It's amazing how dependent I have become on my fancy walkie-talkie. It can do everything, including be part of my brain. which is kind of scary. Why is it scary? It's scary because what will happen if I get too used to it and then I don't have it no more? Yeah. It's like losing half your brain. Or maybe all of it. Eventually. You can become too dependent. If you become too dependent on it, your whole brain's on there. Yeah. Why not? You don't want to have to remember everything. So there you go. Put everything on the phone. And then the reception goes down. Something happens. Natural disaster. Big old ice storm. Yada, yada, yada. I got no phone. I got no memories. What happened? What am I going to do? What do I do? I don't have my to-do list. Yeah. It's not that bad yet. I say yet. My mom and dad both have memory issues, and my mom's got dementia, my dad's got Parkinson's, so. But they're very old, obviously. But yeah, it runs in families, and I'm saying to myself, oh joy. So I gotta take care of it now. Make sure I'm taking care of everything I need to as far as being healthy, right? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take another thinning flake into that area. All right, we're going to cross our fingers. Yeah, you watch enough of my videos, you'll get to know everything. All the secrets of how I think, what I think, who I've been talking to. No, I'm not going to reveal that much unless it's by accident. Yeah. But then I can delete the video. Oh yeah. I'll make a video and I said, dang, I revealed something in there that I shouldn't have. Delete. Some of you are going to comment, don't delete anything, we don't care. I know you don't care. Yeah, you just want to see thin bifaces and thin points and thin flakes. The attempts to thin that area down didn't work that good. Noper. And I'm not going to hit that really, really hard. I mean, I don't want to. But to thin it down more, I'm going to have to. Should I thin it down more or leave it? Looks like I already decided because I'm grinding it like crazy. I already decided. I'm asking you and I've already decided what I'm going to do. How does that work? I got two brains. Got two things going on. Yeah. They say with ADHD people, the different aspects of the brain that's supposed to be working in harmony, they don't work in harmony. They're both working, or they're all working, but they just don't work in harmony. There's no harmony. So to restore the harmony, you take stimulants, of all things. And that calms everything down and makes everything run smoothly. Somehow. I don't know. I do drink caffeine. I mean, I used to drink a ton of coffee. It makes me feel sick now if I drink too much. I think I developed some sort of weird allergy or something. I don't know. Anyway, I can only drink weak coffee. I can no longer drink strong coffee, which is fine because if I ever need extra caffeine, I just pop, you know, half of a caffeine pill or maybe even a whole caffeine pill. You know, they've got score marks in them. You just break them in half. You can just take half if you need a little bit of encouragement. Yeah. So that's what I do. Instead of drinking a bunch of coffee. Now, I would like to drink a bunch of coffee because coffee is one of my favorites. Like everybody else. But, oh well, no more of that. Those days are gone. I remember those days. Hey, Pat, did you make another pot of coffee? And I would say, you know I did. They would say, yeah, I know. There's never a time where there's no coffee in the pot. You know it, man. There's always in there. 15 minutes till the final. 15 minutes before beer 30. And I got a pot of coffee going. Oh, yes. And then when I had my own office, I had my own coffee machine. No one disturbs it except me, which I disturb it all day. Oh, yes. At one of my jobs, we had a coffee subscription service, so the guy would come in every, I don't know, I guess every week. And I say subscription service, I don't know what they call it, but it was a coffee subscription. The guy would come in and just be all happy and say, here's your coffee, man. Here's your coffee. Really? Yeah. Every week? That is a good perk, dude. All right. High five. Haha. Yep. That was a good perk. All right, so what do? We leave it. We leave it alone. Except for the edge. The edge is all crappy, all the pudding. But we can fix it. Everything else we leave alone. I managed to thin it and make it nice. All right. Even though the edge is going to be a little wonky, I could thin it down a little bit more. Yeah. I could thin it down a little bit more. But I don't know yet. Except I'm already getting it ready. I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. Let me grind it a little bit before I decide, yeah. See if I'm going to do it. Yeah. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to thin it down. Have you decided yet? Nope, haven't finished deciding yet. I don't know if I'm going to continue thinning it. Some of you are going, dude, you're thinning it. You're thinning it, dude. Yeah, I know. Is that it? That's it. Yeah. Just throw the flaker over there on the pile. My ADHD pile. Yeah, I'm talking a lot about that. That's because I studied it all day. I've been on the computer or on the phone all day. Yeah. Studying various topics. Talking with people. Crazy people sometimes. Yeah. I don't care. I do care because some of them get me thinking all day. Wait a second, how do this train of thought is kind of interesting in a kind of a train wreck kind of way. Yeah, I can't stop thinking about it. People actually think that way? Yeah, people actually think in weird ways. You know, you get online and you'd be surprised. Sometimes it's fascinating. Like watching a fire burn down a building. Fascinating. And you never realize how much smoke comes out of a burning building. I watched one a few years ago in my neighborhood down here, down the street. House caught fire down the street. It was billowing smoke for an hour. The fire hoses were pumping water in it, just would not stop billowing smoke. And the smoke covered a huge area. Apparently there was a lot of stuff in the house. Yeah. Could have been hoarders or something. I don't know, but it took them a long time to put that fire out. Anyway, it's fascinating. Just like watching people argue on the internet. You don't realize how much pent-up anger and all kinds of weird stuff is on there. Okay, so I don't know what to do. I just keep going with the picking on the edge. Yeah. Sometimes you can pick an edge until it just becomes really fat and dull. Yeah. You can't pick on the edge too much. Just gotta do the little pop outs and then call it good. Hopefully there's no dull spots. Get your glasses on and get the dull spots. I say that because I know most of you guys are around my age. Can't do this without your readers or your prescription microscopic, the microscopes on your eyeballs. I got microscopic glasses. You mean those glasses you can only see through a microscope? No, the glasses are the microscope. Oh, okay. You can get those headsets with these goggles that'll zoom in. Yeah, like the jewelers wear. You can wear jewelry makers goggles. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not as anxious about this point as I was in the beginning. All right, so I can relax a little. I can relax, joke around a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I shouldn't brush with my hands. I got my brush in the pile. Brushing prevents the glass from cutting. If I wipe it with my hand like this, a lot of times I'll catch an end of a flake and it'll drive it right in. But with the brush, lightly brushing, those flakes come off. Yeah. All right. Why am I in short sleeves? Because it's freaking hot today. Okay. So, before I forget, there's a dust storm also. Everything gets covered with a layer of fine red dust. All right. 0.9 ounce. What is the other one? 0.6. Okay. There's no grain weights on this one, and I don't have my grain weight scale. Do I? Sometimes I have 2 grain weight scales, but I only have 1. I guess one of them quit on me. Anyway. Yeah, or 1 ounce. There you go. It became 1 ounce magically. I don't know how many ounces. So what's that for percentage yield? The important thing is I didn't break it. Except that one overshot. I consider that a break. But it wasn't too bad because it's width. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, that's good. This is the part I like. I like looking at it after a successful run. Yeah. Managed to get out all the major step fractures. That made me happy. Running up a steep incline against the grain was looking pretty bad, but once it started to level out, I guess it didn't interfere, or the grain didn't interfere with the flake travel that much. So I guess the angle is better. Yeah, the angle turned out to be okay against the grain, and I was able to run long flakes, especially that one right there. That critical one right there. That's one that was bugging me. I was wondering if I could do that one. Remember that? I had an island starting there. Anyway, I like it. But it's not translucent, except on the very edges a little bit. So it's not one of those things that I'm going to keep for my little side project. It'll be in the auction. All right? So there you go. From that big nodule, I got this. Plus a bunch of flakes. But this was the prize. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's it.